Hello, welcome to Jim's video of the allotment. I thought I would put something together so you could see what's been going on. Starting at the greenhouse. At the top here we've got some broccoli, normal green broccoli at the back here, purple sprouting broccoli at the front, 75 plants of each. Underneath we've got some sweet corn just coming through, planted about 2 weeks ago. We've got a few pumpkins here, seeds that were saved from last year. Over here we've got some courgettes and red hot chili pepper, apparently one of the hottest apparently you can get. I've already got my tomatoes in. So far 25 plants have come through. I've actually planted 15 of them in here, which are money maker. I've got some cucumbers along the back there. Lettuce is in between the plants. These boxes here are made this year because the ones that I had before were rotten. So these are just some planks that I managed to salvage from work. So I've made this box here and this box here. We've got a few more tomato plants there to go into this one when it's got all the stuff out. Leeks that were put in a couple of weeks ago, now about 3 or 4 inches tall. Some spare onions at the back, and these are some alpine strawberries which I've tried for the first time this year. So that's pretty much what's in the greenhouse at the moment. I'll just go outside. This is the herb garden that I put in about 2-3 years ago. It's raised up because herbs don't particularly like wet soil, so what I've done is I've raised it up a bit so it doesn't get too wet. Plenty of weeds in there at the minute, but these are some chives that I put in last year that are amongst the weeds that need to be pulled out. There's some lemon balm here which is just coming through. The mint is just there. Believe it or not, there was nothing there 2 weeks ago, and that's now probably best part of 2 foot tall. And in this bit here I've got some, being a bit choked at the moment, but here we've got some oregano, a bit of mint that's appeared out of nowhere, some sage which seems to be taking over the entire border. That's rosemary. There's another couple of little plants in at the bottom there, and some more oregano on there. Water butts to feed the plants and everything with water. These are some buddleia cuttings that I put in last year of various colours that I'm hoping to put in the garden to brighten things up a bit. These are 2 cuttings I took last year. These are called josterberries, which are apparently a cross between gooseberries and blackberries, I think. I was actually given it from a friend that's got a allotment nearby. Some strawberry plants which were runners from last year. Already got a few strawberries coming there. These have been in the greenhouse, so that's why they're a little bit advanced. As I say, it's only just the second week of May, so these are really early really. But I brought them outside because I've had some aphids appear on the leaves. I don't know if you can see that, but I thought rather than getting everything infected in the greenhouse by them, I'd bring them out here out the way. These are some lavender plants that I grew from seed last year. A little flower there just forming. They didn't really do much last year, but this year they seem to have really taken off. There's another little flower there, I don't know if you can see it. Under here, I made a bit of a mistake this year. I planted the beans too early. So what I've done is I've just put them in here. They're runner beans. Really I should be putting the seed in now, but unfortunately I was a couple of weeks too early because we were going on holiday. So I've put it in a little early and it's absolutely gone mad. They're about 2 foot tall now. So I've put them in here just to keep them out of the frost, but to try and slow them down a bit. Under here we've got some sunflowers grabbing, and these are some like small French beans, which are kind of a yellowy colour that I saved the seed from last year. so I'll give them a go again. There's a few more beans down here that haven't quite come through yet. This is the asparagus, which has done quite well this year. It's actually been in about 3 or 4 years in this position. This one's particularly doing well here. It's probably about 6 foot tall. But I haven't picked any because I don't want to weaken the plants. But really, I think next year I might be able to get a crop off those. These are the strawberry bed. They were moved here last year. And I've actually noticed since I watched Sean's video on the Hort channel, I've actually got some black flowers, which apparently means you're not going to get a strawberry. I don't know if I've not seen them before, so I don't know if it's because of these frosts that we're having. It's maybe knocking them back. I made these frames here to keep we've got plenty of pigeons around here, which always seems to be a problem. So I made these 2 frames last year out of some copper pipe. Obviously I need 2 more to go that side, which I'll be making. I've partly made one of them, but I'll be getting on with that in the next couple of weeks so I can cover the strawberries up so the birds don't eat them all. These are the 2 rows of raspberries that I've got. These went in not last year, the year before. I made some metal frames here, which are quite sturdy, because before I had wooden stakes and some string between them, but they didn't seem to hold. So these are some, I salvaged some roofing bars off an old conservatory, and these metal bars here are actually roof supports out of an old garage, which so I've managed to put them together. I've driven, I think there's about 5 posts in each row, and I've managed to salvage some slabs to go down between to save the weeds. I'm still having a bit of a problem with bindweed, which everybody seems to have. So what I've done is I've pulled it out away from the raspberries, and I've been spraying this with a bit of weed killer, because it doesn't matter how much I pull at it, it seems to just keep coming and coming. So I'm declaring chemical warfare on it this year. Here, the onion bed. Last year I had potatoes here. As you can see, I've got a reasonable amount of onions in there. There's I think there's 10 rows. There's this breed here, which is Turbo. I got those from Wilco's, and there's Stuttgart Giant and Allium something or other I can't pronounce. I've not grown them before, but I'll see how they get on. I might have overdone it with onions this year. I don't normally grow this many, but because I'd got the sets, I thought, blow it, I'll put them in and see how they go. Right, this tunnel here, these 2 tunnels, used to be trampoline. If you can see this sort of arch shape here, that's half of the trampoline ring, if you like, that the trampoline used to go on. This is where the springs used to be located in here. So I made this not last year but the year before, basically to keep the birds off. So in here, as soon as it's dug, will go the broccoli that you saw in the greenhouse a few minutes ago. I've fetched all the weeds out pretty much. This is just needs to be dug over and the rest of the weeds taken out. This one next to it, I actually made this last year, and it's out these arched parts again here were actually the off the trampoline again. Those are the straight parts that held the net round to stop people falling out of it. So what I managed to do was bend that round so it was the same arc as this. That's easier said than done, but I managed to do it. So what I can actually do is put these 2 end to end if I wanted to. That was the plan anyway. And so in this one, it's a slightly different design. As you can see, there's 3 arches. There's one in the middle, and then one at each end. And then it's just in between. There's just conduit pipe, which I managed to salvage again. So all of the metal work didn't cost me a penny. These are all bits of metal that I managed to salvage from one place or another, or they're already existing on the allotment. So I made the two ends first, and then got the pattern from that, and then made the middle. There's a pipe running up the middle, if you can see there, to hold it all together. And this was made last year. It does need reinforcing. I don't know if you can see, but the net's a bit slack because basically this side here is pushed in. So what I need to do is up the middle is put another piece of conduit to hold it out. Because basically I've got these cables here. I don't know if you can see. That's steel cable, which a friend of mine gave me, which holds or supposed to hold it taut. But unfortunately, what's happened is over last year, it's pulled this back part in a little bit, so that needs to be kind of pushed back out. So it pulls the net taut. I've managed to rip it down there and up there. That's me being clumsy with the spade, unfortunately. Still, we're not perfect. In here so far, I've got 3 rows of stuff in here. The row furthest away, nearest the side, that's spinach beet, and then just in the middle there, there's what's called perpetual spinach, which is a very similar crop. The spinach beet tends to have a more defined stem, which is what I grew last year. I'll show you last year's in a moment. And then this middle row here are parsnips. Sorry, not parsnips. Turnips. I've got a row of peas in here which I only put in this week, so there's nothing showing there. So hopefully next time you see this there'll be something growing in here. In the rest of it, up here and at the back there where the stool is, I'll be putting the kale, which I did really well with last year. I got quite a good crop off that. So just down here, I need to obviously do. I've just shown you this. This part here, this is the spinach beet. As you can see, it's going to seed now. There's 2 rows of it there. We are still eating bits of it, but I'm giving this to my chickens at the moment. They love this. So right in here we've got 10 rows of potatoes. Now I watch Dave's allotment, and also watch Sean's allotment on the Hawk channel, and they've both said they always buy their seed potatoes. Dave said in one of his, I think, that he's concerned about blight, etc. Now I'm not sure if it's right or not, but I've been saving my own seed potatoes now for a number of years, and I've never had a problem. We do have blight up here, but I think blight is airborne. I'm no expert, but I don't think saving your own seed causes blight. I always obviously save healthy potatoes to put back in. Anything that's kind of egg-sized, I'll put back in. As you can see, these have been in about about 3 or 4 weeks now. As I said, there's 24 potatoes in each row, and there's 10 rows, so there's a reasonable amount of potatoes there. And I'll be saving the small ones again for next year. As I say, I've been doing that for a few years now, and I've not really had a problem. In here, I've just pulled the plastic off this a few minutes ago, but this is these are parsnips which I planted about 2 weeks ago, and you can just see the odd one. I don't know if you can see that. If I get this out of the way, there's a parsnip here. One there, they're just showing through. These are weeds here. There's always plenty of weeds, but that's a weed. That's a parsnip. So there are 2 parsnips there. So they're coming through. So I'm quite pleased with that, because I always struggle to germinate parsnips for some reason. As soon as I get them going, I'm all right. Last year, I germinated quite a few, but I had quite a few bulb patches in the row. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure why. The potatoes have been hoed up once already, as you can see. They need to be done again, because you can see quite a few weeds. So what I normally do is hoe them up. That one that's in the middle there, I don't know if you can see that, between 2 rows, that must be a rogue potato that was Last year the potatoes came to just the other side of the spinach there, so if you can imagine, this top part was potatoes last year. So there was, here was, well, there weren't potatoes anyway, there was brassicas and beans, etc. here, so I'm not quite sure where that potatoes come from. It must have been one that got rotivated in whilst we were doing. There was, yeah, I think there was actually leeks here last year in this position. So I'm not quite sure where that rogue one's come from, but all of these little seedlings, I don't know if you can see them down here, most of these, well, most certainly that one there, is calendula, the orange flower. And I had a row of those last year up the front, which I'll show you in a moment, and the things just self-set themselves everywhere, so that's what all they are. So they look pretty, but they're most certainly weeds if you don't want them. Here there's nothing yet. This was all rotivated over about 2 or 3 weeks ago. What's going in here are courgettes and pumpkins, and then at the end there, which I'll show you when I get around in a second, that's where the corn's going to go up by the 2 bins there. So I'm going to have a block of corn there. This is the rhubarb, and believe it or not, all of that's grown in the last 3 weeks, and it's absolutely massive. And lots of people, I always do well with the rhubarb. I mean, I don't know if you can see the size of this leaf. If you look at that leaf there, that's the size of my hand. You can see it's a pretty big leaf, and the stems are quite nice and thick. People always ask me, how do you get your rhubarb so nice? And I think there's three tricks to rhubarb. One, I always put about 6 or 7 inches of chicken muck on top of it every year. I don't know if you can see down here. You can see all the straw down there. Well, there's 6 to 9 inches of chicken muck on top of it every year. Only ever pick about 1/3 of the rhubarb. People tend to pick it too much, and you don't leave enough leaves on the plant to feed the plant, and you weaken the plant. So I only ever pick 1/3, at the maximum 1/2 of the beetroot. Sorry, not the beetroot, the rhubarb. And what I do find is I get a second. So if I pick this now, in about 3 months' time, there'll be a second load come. So you actually get 2 crops off it anyway, if it's doing well. And the other trick, the third one, is never move it, because the roots go down about 2 or 3 foot, and if you move it, you're just constantly disturbing the roots and weakening the plant. So the 3 tricks are: always keep it fed, put loads of muck on, or whatever you've got. Always pick no more than sort of half of it, shall we say, and obviously pick it evenly. So because within this there must be about, I don't know, about 20 different plants or so in there, I'd imagine. So always make sure you pick a bit from everywhere, and never move it, because this has been here longer than I've had the allotment, and it's never been moved. So that's the best thing to do. And I've always had really successful rhubarb, as you can see. As I say, it's only the 2nd week in May, so all things considered, we're still having frost really, and the rhubarb's doing really well. These are the bean canes, and I did put a few beans in. There's 2 beans on each stick. As you can see, there's one little bean coming there, runner bean. I've noticed up the back here, it's actually 43 canes along, so there's 86 canes in total. You must think, my God, you must like beans. But the good thing with beans is you can freeze them, so you can pick and freeze them, and then that will last you all the way through the winter. As you can see here, there's another one coming there, and some more here. Don't look overly happy. I think the frost might have had a go at a couple of them, because we are still getting frosts. We had a couple last weekend. Last weekend being the bank holiday, the first bank holiday in May. This is where the calendulas were, and this is the end of the allotment here. This is the drive where everybody comes up and down who drives here. You can see here all of these here, calendulas, or well, marigolds, whatever you want to call them. They're everywhere. I did actually save the seed. I mean, you can see how many there are there. I did actually save the seed, but I don't think I'll need to. Last year I never planted any. All I did was transplanted, because I always have a row up by the path here to keep it looking a bit pretty towards the road. But what I'll do is just transplant the ones that are over there nearer the road and just leave them to it, I suppose. What else is going in here? There's going to be those beans I showed you in the cold frame. I'm going to put those up here. So I think there's probably about 20 plants there, so I'll make a row out of those, or possibly 2 rows. I'll probably zigzag them like I did last year. And here I'm going to put some Swiss chard, which is this stuff here. This is Chris's allotment, which is a nice pretty plant. It is pretty much the same as the spinach beet, but where the spinach beet has got white stems, this tends to be a bit more colourful, but it's more for show than anything. It looks nice on the plate as well. So I've not grown any before, so I thought I'd grow some here because it looks attractive, and we can also have it for tea. So in this bit here, which has been dug over, as you can see, I've dug quite a lot of chicken manure in here. These black bins here, there's actually 4, or in total there's 3 stacked up together there. I always fill those with chicken muck over the winter. You've probably guessed I've got chickens, so they're not too far from the allotment, so all of the chicken manure, when I clean them out, always comes over here, and I fill these bins during the summer, and then at this time of the year I empty it out and basically spread it amongst the across the vegetable patch, and that really does make a big difference. As Dave says on Dave's allotment, you know, what you put into the soil is basically what you get out. So you know, you want to make sure you put plenty of goodness back into the soil when you've got you know, if you want to have a successful crop. What you need to do is the number one step is to get the soil right, and to you know, get all the right nutrients into the soil before you start, so then you'll have healthy plants. So this is the other side of the plot. 10 rows of potatoes. As you can see, I've started to dig the first few of these spinaches out, or spinach beet. The chickens have been having that over the last couple of days. And that's pretty much it, I think, for now. But so that was the spring tour of the allotment. This is the first video I've ever done, so you'll have to excuse if it's a bit rough around the edges. But having watched Sean and Dave for a few years, and Rick Van Man, and all of the others, which I quite enjoy watching on YouTube, I thought I would finally get around to making my own video. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you like the video, please say so. If you don't like it, hopefully as time goes on and I do a few more videos, they'll get slightly more polished than this one. But that's the allotment so far. As you can see, I like recycling and building things of my own. I don't spend a lot of money on the allotment. I like to keep it as cheap as possible, so I'm a true allotment here. There's Casper on top of the roof, can you see? He's come to say hello. That's Casper Cat. So all of the things I've shown you very much are recycled, and I've been building it up over the last I think this is my 9th year having this allotment. So pretty much everything you can see, all of the paths, I've recycled all of these slabs bit by bit. I've managed to go all the way around. The bit down the bottom, like the curbstone that I showed you, just where the calendulas were, that's an old greenhouse base that was in my garden when I first bought my house, which I've recycled. All of this metal is basically, oh, they're old kiddie swings. If I can just show you here, this bit was the legs off an old kid's swing. This was an old bed that I managed to get hold of. an old metal bed. This was actually in my garden when I first moved in. I saved it because I'm a bit of a squirrel, and it's obviously come in. As I say, the round bits with the trampoline. These legs here are scaffolding poles, which was actually on the allotment when I took over the allotment. Again, this is conduit, which I've managed to get from either work or wherever when it's been scrapped. And the door's made out of these are battery chickens. When it was outlawed about 5 years ago, they scrapped all the cages that the chickens came in. So these doors are basically made from the cages that the chickens used to stand on, which is a good thing really, because they're bloody cruel to keep chickens in there. And that just clips on. That keeps the birds out. So when I've got the crop in there, I'll be keeping that shut to stop the pigeons going in. Once I've got all that in, and of course as soon as all the crops in here come up, I'll be shutting this door. This is exactly the same thing, this door, but I've just got a bit of this green mesh cable tied onto there. So that's all recycled stuff. This is a bit of old Suffolk board that I made the nameplates out of. As I say, this is an old, the legs are from an old conservatory, and the pieces that go across over here, these bits, that's off an old garage. It was the old concrete section garages. That was the strengthening bar out of the roof, which I managed to get hold of. The coal frame that I've got here, it's an old coal bunker with some slabs. The reason I've built it like that is I grow my carrots in there, and carrot root fly can only fly, I think, something like 18 inches off the ground. So if you build something this high, you can't basically get in it. So I grow as soon as all these are out of here, I'll be planting the carrots in there, and basically the carrot root fly can't fly up and get into there, so that stops me getting carrot root fly. All of these bricks are all recycled. That was from the next village, and this is an old water tank out of somebody's roof that was recycled. This was actually on the allotment when I first took it over. All of the wood around the strawberries, they're old. It was actually part of a pallet that I managed to get hold of from work, so all of that's recycled. So basically none of this has cost me any money, to be honest with you. The only thing I bought last year that cost any kind of money was the green mesh which is on the tunnel, and this was I think this was about £25. I got that over the internet. It's the stuff the builders use to put over scaffolding and that to stop brick dust and lumps of building falling on people's cars and stuff. So when they're doing a big building, that's the stuff they put round. So I'll post this on YouTube. If you like it, let me know, and I'll next time. This was just a bit of a tour really to show you where I am at the minute. I shall show you some more practical things of how I do things. I do them slightly differently to Dave and Sean and that off the Hort channel and that, but as you can see, I do grow quite a lot. I'm feeding a family of 5, so and chickens, which is why I grow so much brassicas and that, because obviously what we don't eat gets eaten by the chickens, so none of it goes to waste really. And obviously tomatoes and that, you can always preserve those, make sauces for spaghetti, etc. So you can always use them, and cucumbers. The kids are always fighting over them, so I always grow plenty of them. And hopefully when I work out how to put the videos together properly, I'll show you some photographs of how it looked last year as well, because I took a few photographs, so I'll post them. So that's a very quick look at Jim's allotment. I hope you enjoyed that, and I shall speak to you again next month. Thank you. Bye bye.